Okay, guys, this is Dave again, coming out of Grand Island, New York. Now, I'm new at this whole thing, so please bear with me. Now, this video is basically going to just be kind of a quick overview through some of the things I've gone through. I'm a big guy. There's a lot of us big guys out there. It's not so easy for us to get a simple flight suit, get the right accessories, so we can go out there and Ghostbust, whether it's cosplay or being with your local franchise. So, I'm just going to share a few quick things that I've done. Not all of us have the money to get the Maddie Collector Edition stuff. And of course, the Hasbro items aren't out yet. So, those of us, you don't have the stuff at the ready, what do? You make it. That's something my dad always used to teach us. If you don't have the tools, you make them. Right? So, here's a couple things I've done. I'm actually big advocate of the Spirit Halloween line. I know people will complain and mention, oh, they're toys, oh, they're just cheap stuff, and people are just buying their way through Ghostbusting. That's not true. A lot of people will mod them. I'm actually in a lot of Facebook groups that do that. So, a couple of things. First thing I did was, well, you gotta have PKE, so I have the Spirit Halloween PKE. I weathered it up, scuffed it up a little bit. I even added some labels on here. 1980s label maker, you know. And I've done some scuffing, some weathering. I want to do a little bit more. I removed the belt clip, of course. That's always the first thing you want to do. I know those people who are massive experts at cosplay will sand it down, Dremel it out, do some filler, and there's 3D files out there for those who want to just cut the hole out and patch it up. Well, unfortunately, I don't have a 3D printer. And I am still a novice at modifying and cosplaying, so a couple basic things I just did was I did the labeling, did some dry brushing with some silver, not much, you can barely see it. I wanted to give it a little wear and tear, and I wanted to do a little bit more. And I bought a lot of people will buy a tape measure holder. I got this, I think, on Amazon. And all I did was I spray painted flat black. Didn't do any special shoe shine or any dyeing of it. I just did flat black, about 1 or 2 coats. And also I did some epoxy with a belt clip so I can just put this right on my belt. And obviously the paint's going to wear, but you want that worn kind of look. So, and I just slide it right in, twist, holds it right there. Works perfect for me. Another thing I've done is there's going to be those elitists. No offense to them, but the elitists who will say, "Oh, some of these items they're meant to be all plastic. There is no metal, so don't do the dry brushing, don't do the weathering." It's up to you. It's your equipment. It's your items. You do what you want with it. Again, spirit goggles. Now, if you notice, I've done a lot of... Some of the dry brushing's not the greatest. It works for me, though. I mean, I like it. Again, dry brushing. I actually went with a darker military green color. I use mostly just about all I ever use is Rust-Oleum. It works good for me. I taped the hell out of this when I was spray painting it. I removed these, just Velcro right off. So I did a big wands of painter's tape. Covered up most of it. Covered up this goggle. And I just spray painted it. A couple coats. Someone had suggested doing a clear coat. I was not a big fan of that because at first it didn't look that great after it dried. I probably should have waited a day or two, but then I applied it, but it worked out pretty good. I like the scuffing. I know this isn't meant to be hard metal or a metal look, but I like the look of it. Again, it's down to what you like and what you are comfortable with. Okay? And then I applied the labels afterwards. And Again, I did some dry brushing, some wearing down to the silver. I'm a big fan of dry brushing with silver argent. If you're unfamiliar with dry brushing and weathering, there's plenty of videos out there. Not just for Ghostbuster videos, any kind of cosplay videos. There's tons of people with tutorials out there. And I'll take a broken piece of plastic collector item, or I've even used caps and do some dry brushing on them just to see if it works out. You know, you want to try and practice a little before you actually do it. So, one other thing I did, and big shout out to Jason from Ghostbusters News when he did the weathering. He used some weather strips, some weathering stripping on the inside of his, and it followed suit. I used Gorilla Glue, and it seemed to work out pretty well. The only difference was he had one solid piece for the nose. I put two separate pieces. I don't know if you can really see that there, but it works out for me extremely comfortable. I mean, whether you're wearing it on your head, on the top, or you're wearing it over your eyes, it works perfectly. And honestly, a lot of times, I'll hang it right on my PKE. So just let it hang like that. Some people will hook it on their belts. That's perfectly fine. Now, also, I took a little Spirit Halloween stores when they're open. They sell these little bags of gears. Well, I took one of those, and again, did some Gorilla Glue, some epoxy adhesive, whatever you have, and I glued it right on there. Because if you watch Ghostbusters 2, there is that little piece when Ray is watching the ghost jogger coming towards the trap, and he activates it. He's got the little dowel right on there, so I added that on. Again, I did some dry brushing on all the metal pieces, the bolts here. So, now, as far as the suits. Now, I'll be honest. I was, about 2 years ago, I was $4.90. Last year when I started my first ever cosplay and first attempt at dressing up as a Ghostbuster, I went to a company. They were really awesome, called Suits USA Incorporated. I'll throw the link in the description below. They are really awesome. They made me a custom suit. It was a gray suit. It was a perfect Ghostbuster 2 gray. Worked perfectly for me. It was a little bit heavy as far as the material. It doesn't weigh on you heavy, but it doesn't breathe well like a very thin flight suit will. So, unfortunately, my first con I went to wearing this outfit, I roasted. It's better for the winter weather. Winter and fall weather, it's awesome. So, I needed a khaki suit. I needed a light material to wear. So, being that I'm 6 foot, and my waist at the time was probably about a 60, 62. As at this time of this video, I'm actually down to a 54, 52. I'm doing my best to drop the weight, be as healthy as I possibly can. So, what I've done is this. The only thing close I could get was a pair of coveralls, like a mechanic's jumpsuit with the zippers going across the chest. Lapco makes a very awesome, very light material. Lapco, I'm going to leave a link in it from Amazon. I actually scored one last year for about $47, which is pretty awesome. Now, after dropping the weight that I did, I needed another one. I paid about $90 for the next one. Okay? And like I said, I'm going to leave the link in the description for Amazon for the link to the actual suit I got. So if you guys want to check it out yourself, it's fine. It doesn't have the round collar that the flight suits do. It has more of your traditional collar. But it works perfectly fine. They have snaps at the wrist. They have the zip pockets. They have pockets all over. It's a very light material. Although the actual description will say that it's fire retardant or resistant. You think fire resistant must be a much heavier material. It's not. It's very light. I've used it a dozen different times. And if it's a little baggy around the sleeves, you can go to your local Joann's or Michael's, any kind of craft store. Get a snap pliers, they call them, I think, where you can apply extra snaps so you can make it fit around your wrist, and the same thing for your pant leg too. Okay, I mean, for those of us who can't fit into a flight suit, I know flight suits tend to be a little bit more tapered. They tend to fit about a couple sizes down. I mean, I've tried a Rothko suit once. I could only get my legs into it. Can you know? Those of us who are stocky, even if you lose, if you're 6 foot, you lose that weight, you're still going to have that extra frame. So it's going to make it a little bit hard for you. So I'm going to drop the link in for that. Applied my patches. Works perfectly fine. And besides, if you're running around doing events, parades, cons, I mean, even if you're not even part of a franchise and you want to have a decent costume, something that you feel comfortable in, and that you feel represents Ghostbusting, again, it's what you like, what you feel comfortable with. To me, would I like to have a flight suit? Yeah, who wouldn't? But I went with the tan coveralls. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna leave the link in below. Also, Etsy and eBay are going to be your two top friends. I tend to do a lot more through Etsy. A lot of the people respond to you very quickly, and it's very, very good stuff. Like, I've gone to leg hose attachments. I know some people will sew it on. I actually used Velcro patch. Put the more softer side on the actual suit. I used some E6000 adhesive. It's commonly known as liquid stitch. You go to a Joann's, you go to Walmart, you'll find them. It applies it, you let it sit for about 2 to 3 days, let it completely solidify, and it's pretty much liquid stitch. You can wash it 1,000 times over, it's not going to come out. And then I apply the other part of the Velcro to the bottom part of the hose attachments. So you can just unvelcro it, you throw your suit in the wash, you don't have to worry about the hose, the rubber of the hose getting changing colors or anything. Works perfectly for me. Now I do use belt extenders. You can get them on eBay, very cheap. I've got them for as low as $5. They connect onto the Rothko military pistol belt perfectly fine. I know those a lot of purists who like to have the more traditional Marine pistol belts that they actually use in Ghostbusters 1. Unfortunately for the big guys, the cutoff is about 40 to 42 waist. So, you have to go with what you have available. And that's what I do. Now, I'm going to be doing some more videos. Now, a lot of stuff, like I said, I'm not an expert. Now, here's a spirit trap that I kind of did some, again, I did some painting, sanded it down, did some painting here, a lot of dry brushing. I gave it more of a rust look. This is just one of my traps. Thanks to my teammates, I was able to get my hands on an actual resistor, threw that on there. Now, to keep the trap from opening, I actually took a dog leash, cut it up, put a little Velcro on it. You probably can't see it too well. And it keeps my trap nice and open. It keeps my trap closed because I actually have a V-hook on here because I actually wear it on my spirit pack. I did throw an attachment here so I can connect the hose. No, I don't have a working trap pedal, but I like it for the look. Again, a lot of dry brushing, a lot of weathering. Some people might say I did too much. Again, it all comes down to how you feel about it. I actually kept with the stock spirit wheels. I took everything apart so it was easier to paint, like this part. And if you notice, I actually replaced I painted the doors completely black, and then I took some reflective caution tape. It's just something that I like to do, and I threw some on the bottom here to kind of give it a nice look, like if I'm running around and it's nighttime. This is kind of my backup track, by the way. The quality isn't the greatest. I have another trap, but I need to do some repairs on it. This came off of it. I took a little piece of board. This is actually wood. I painted it to kind of give it like a metal look until I can actually get a 3D piece printed. Got the dowel here. I just have to kind of fix it back up because it kind of cracked. Again, you use what you have around you to make this stuff. And I threw the pin from the franchise I'm part of. Threw it on there so I can represent the team. Never hurts. And honestly, even if you just have a group of friends and you just want to dress up, I mean, that's one of the best ways to get into it. See? You can have this hanging on, shaking around. Those doors, they're not popping open. I mean, they creep open a little bit, but it works for me. Now, those who try and get the key fobs, I've seen those key fobs, the belt attachments, go for 20, 30, hell, even $50 at times. Eventually I'm going to get myself a good set, but to begin with, again, I went with the dollar store. This is made out of a dog leash. And like I said, you can go to Joann's or Michael's, get a snap attachment. Pop it on yourself. It's not that hard. Not even 2 to 3 minutes, you have a working snap. I've done that, made some longer ones. All these you can get a hardware store, or you go to the dollar store, you get a couple dog leashes, you cut them up, 1, 2, 3, there you go. For probably less than, I don't know, $3, $4, you got a couple key fobs to hook your wand from, or hook any of your attachments to. I mean, I'm on a budget. What can I say? But it works for me. And I hope some of these tips work for you guys. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing some more videos, and hopefully it gets better over time. But if you ever have any questions, thoughts, concerns, you have a suggestion for me, maybe something you have a question about, or maybe a suggestion that maybe I can use to help better my look, to step up my gear, please feel free to throw a suggestion my way, or maybe if there's something you want me to take a look into. Like I said, I'm based out of the Northeast in New York State, Buffalo, New York, Grand Island area, and I'm always trying to look into better ways to improve some of my props, improve our skills. That's what the Ghostbuster community is about. We're about sharing our ideas so we can get out there and have a great time. Now, I don't just do Ghostbusters. I do some other stuff. I got this on Etsy about a year ago. Attached these to it, because I actually have a Ghostbusters Back to the Future, what I call my Flex Pack, and I'll be doing a video about that sometime soon. Don't know when. It's going to drop probably within the next week or two. But I'm going to show that to you guys in a video or two down the line. But like I said, us big guys, it's not always easy. And even for maybe those who are short, maybe they have trouble getting suits. So leave a like in the comments. Hit that bell if you want to hear when new videos drop. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Catch you on the other side.